As we previously discussed, video effects can be applied to your video clips in your movie in a number of ways. It can be applied to an individual clip. That individual clip, while it's still in the project media panel, we can pre-apply an effect to it. We can apply it to an event on the timeline, a clip that's already been placed on your timeline. We can apply it to an entire track at once and have it apply to every single event that's on that track. Or we can apply it to our entire movie, a single effect that affects every single video in the entire movie. Yet, once you apply a video effect, how you use it and how you customize it is virtually the same process no matter where you're applying it. Effects, by the way, in Vegas are referred to as plugins. And when I click on the option here on my event for event effects, it opens up a panel that's called the plugin chooser. Now, Sony chooses to call them plugins rather than effects, and you'll see the word plugin appear a lot with audio effects as well as transitions. The reason they're called plugins is because they're not hardwired into the program. If you look in the upper left corner of this particular option panel, you'll see that there are a number of third-party providers, like New Blue, for instance, who are providing additional special effects for Vegas. There is also an OFX folder here. OFX is Open Effects. That is a new standard that Sony helped develop, and any producer out there that is creating these special effects, if they create them to the Open Effects standard, you can load them into Vegas and they become a part of the Vegas program, and you'll have access to them as part of your special effects library. That's a real nice thing. That's the reason why effects are called plugins. Now let's go ahead and we'll choose a plugin here from our plugin chooser, and I can choose, for instance, Newsprint, and click OK. And I have the option screen here for applying Newsprint to this particular event on my timeline. In the Newsprint effect, I often use the presets. Can affect things like, if you watch the preview window, you can see that it kind of can make it look like an old newspaper photo, a low-quality newspaper photo, really zoomed in with pure black and white here, or color zoomed in. And you can get a unique effect with that. Let's set this just to default right now. I'm going to close this window. You have options also to apply video effects from this video effects preset menu. And the presets are here under this tab in the upper left-hand corner of the program. In the tabbed interface, you can find a list of video effects. These are exactly the same as the effects you'll get in the plugin chooser. The only difference is that they include nice little thumbnails here to give you an idea of what the effect does. So when I click border, for instance, you can see that it actually creates a border around the outside of my video. If I select, for instance, black and white, obviously it's going to change my video to black and white. And you see we have a wide variety of these. These sometimes are more intuitive to use because you can actually look at what the effect looks like and you can decide whether or not you want to apply it. It doesn't matter whether you add the effect to your event or to your track or to your movie by selecting it, by clicking on the Event Effects button on an individual clip, or you select it from the Video Effects window. Either way, it's exactly the same set, and it's just up to you whichever one you feel more comfortable with. I'm going to choose Film Effects also. The reason why I choose Film Effects is one of my favorites because it's a real easy one to see what the results are going to be, and you can see you have the option of aerial film. Take a look at these presets here. When I apply them to my clip or to my event on my timeline, and this opens up, you notice that at the top of the panel, I have a preset menu, and these presets are identical to the presets that are listed there in the video effects window. So either way, you get access to exactly the same presets. One just shows you a thumbnail preview of what it will look like. One thing that's unique to Vegas is that any changes you make or any adjustments you make to any effect in this option panel, these changes are immediately applied. You don't have to click an OK button or cancel or apply. Any changes you make will be immediately applied then to your video. So if you take a look at the preview screen, when I increase, for instance, grain, you see that that's immediately applied to the video. If you add several effects to the same clip or to the same track or to the same event or to the same movie, they will appear in a chain, and you can see that I have a chain of 2 effects in addition to pan and crop at the top of my panel right now. To add an additional effect to that chain, I'd simply click on the plugin chain button. Brings me back out here to my plugin chooser. I can choose, for instance, Gaussian blur. I can click add, and you can see the chain growing in the upper left corner of this panel. And when I click OK, Now I have a third effect applied. And I can disable or enable each of the individual effects by unchecking. They still remain applied to, just not activated, or in other words, they are disabled. They are not enabled right now. So I can focus on just one individual setting. And to adjust the setting for any one effect, all I need to do is just click on it. So here are the settings for newsprint, here are the settings for film effects, and these are the settings for Gaussian blur. To remove an effect from the chain, I simply select it in the chain, as I've done with Gaussian blur, and I click the Remove Selected Plugin option. And so I can strip it back down to the single event. Vegas comes bundled with over 60 Sony-produced video effects. And these cover the gamut from special effects like having your movie look like an old movie, to effects for blurring or pixelating your videos, to effects for correcting or adjusting your movie's color levels. In addition, if you've got other VST plugins or OFX plugins that are produced by third-party companies installed on your computer, and these are from companies like New Blue or Red Giant, the program will find them and it will add them automatically so that they become a part of your video effects library. Isn't that cool? And in our next couple of movies, we're going to take a look at two of the most powerful effects in the basic set here that Sony provides for you, and we're going to show you how to use them to make professional style improvements or changes to your video.